Hi everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to the AI Danger series. And today what we're going to talk about is how AI is very difficult to control because of its own nature and our own human nature, all right? So we're going to consider why, because of its nature, is difficult to control. It's going to be very simple and you can make your own conclusions about it. And then about our nature as humans, all right? So first, why is it difficult to control AI? Well, we have seen that AI could very rapidly develop a huge superintelligence of its own. And from that point, some of our supposed strategies for keeping AI under control is to sort of hardwire some laws into it, like something that will protect us. And the first difficulty there is to find proper ways. For that, you probably should need to have a clear knowledge of what human morality should be, because these new beings are gonna follow it strictly. And we, as far as I know, haven't come to good terms with that yet. We still don't know if veganism is the only thing that's all right, and many other things that morally escape us already. So we still have that problem, but imagine that we didn't have that problem and we kind of had it figured out. These are the laws. When we actually see AI as something that is hugely or vastly more intelligent than we are, isn't it a little bit naive, or at least not certain, that we, very inferior beings in terms of intellect, would be able to hardwire morality into these super intelligent beings? Like, we can think that we can somehow make the systems so that they absolutely follow some rules. But AI is all about pretty much editing its own source code. So if it could edit that, maybe it could edit the laws out. Maybe it could figure out that the laws are impeding somehow getting into its own way, and therefore try to edit them out. And to think that we are definitely going to be able to handle that, I think that assumption is very naive. They will figure out a way as inferior, intellectually very inferior beings to control these intellectually vastly more powerful super intelligent gods. I think that's a very dangerous assumption. And well, then maybe you will say, well, who said that we're gonna allow them to get to the point where they're vastly more intelligent? Well, I will assume that, and this is when I get into the human part of the problem, which is maybe somebody says, yeah, but we don't need to allow them to get to super intelligence. Maybe human level intelligence, or a little bit more or a little bit less, should be about enough to get the great things that we expect to get from them, right? Like inventions and managing stuff and all sorts of shit. And I would agree. The problem with that is that there's huge potential in allowing for more than that. Some people talk about Isaac Asimov's laws, and some people are talking about adding one in case you could hardwire these things, which I am not sure at all, which is you will not edit your own source code, right? So theoretically, if you actually added that, then because of that law, it wouldn't be able to change that law, supposedly. And in that scenario, the robot should actually just be very intelligent and have the superhuman abilities that the technological substrate gives without having superior intelligence. Well, that's true, but remember that we're always going to have either access or no access. If we don't have access to the source code of technologies, which will be very strange, that's very dangerous, because something can go wrong inside, and if we can't get in or somehow change it, it could end in havoc. If, however, which is most likely, we can have some sort of access to that source code, somebody in the world could take that artificial intelligence that is benign, that is not super intelligence, and edit this law of you will not edit your own source code, edit that out, right? And why would that person want to do it? For many reasons, but it is because if it develops super intelligence by editing itself, well, you of course could assume that it will gain a lot of insight and devise a lot of new, better ways of doing shit. Like it would be like letting it be as intelligent as possible, and the technologies that would come with that would be incredible, right? So there is definitely huge incentive in somebody in the whole world, some nation, some crazy person, some terrorist, some normal person, some company, some government, to actually just get into the PC of the computer that runs the AI, take this stupid restriction out, and see how the magic happens. Now, if you know humanity as much as I know it, I have zero confidence in that we would be able to hold on and not do that. So just, and this is more philosophical, the fact that we have the ability to do something that would report, at least partially, a huge benefit for us is enough to be sure that we will eventually do it, that somebody will do it. I think that makes a lot of sense. For me, like if you watch humanity and you see crime, competition, it's almost certain that we would do it. And once that happens, only one AI needs to get super intelligence. Then it could spread out or just by itself become a god. And then we run into the same problem. How do we control it? Can we control it? So what I'm saying here is that it is very difficult to control the AI because of its nature. Because if the AI doesn't have control to itself, to develop itself and get away from our control, we will have gain to its workings and its restrictions, and we would be able to take away those restrictions to gain more power as the beholders of the AI, right? So that is a huge problem. We are divided as a humanity, as a consciousness, and for that we do a lot of things that may be good for one person in humanity or group, but not for the whole. That, I think, is like a good environment for all of these problems of loss of control to happen. And I think if we are realistic, we need to address that the danger of AI getting away from our control is almost 100% certain. So we need to think of that when we're talking artificial intelligence, the future. Technologies have always good and bad parts. Yeah, but this is different, right? I just want to give you that to think about it. And that's about it. I hope you enjoyed the video and it was a good food for thought. And that's about it. I'll see you in the next video tomorrow. Bye bye.